Now, if you've been paying attention, and I mean truly have been paying attention, then you can see clearly that the deep state's plan, the corrupt politicians' plan, these private Western central bankers, their plan, well, it's completely falling apart right now. And it's honestly almost like as if they were all set up. It's truly like it's one big script, one big playbook. And it's almost as if these individuals knew that if they did not push their plan forward, well, then they would be exposed. And we know that they're not going to give up without a fight. We know this. You see, these individuals, they've been robbed of war. So I do believe that they thought they'd be able to use this bear flu and that everything would go according to their plan. Our economy, it would shut down. Hell, the entire world even. The global economy would be shut down for the next 2-3+ years. We would see the people suffer. We'd see people die. The global economies all around the world would collapse. And so would their monetary systems. We would continue to see these governments borrow and create currencies like never before seen. The world would be flooded in fiat, in cash currency. And we would see hyperinflation. We would see all the private Western central bankers then point fingers at the governments and the leaders of the world, saying it's all their fault. We would then see them come out and say, we must move into the Great Reset. And this is why we will need a greener economy, green energy. And you'll see them say that everything we had before must go. It's almost as if they were doing all of this by script, by like one big playbook. And I do believe that the tides are just starting to turn. Let's take a moment and let's think about their plan. Let's think about how they no longer have war because it's been robbed. They've been robbed of it for the last 5 years. So we're now starting to see them hurry up and crank war up. Think about the pandemic and how states and countries are fighting back and opening up. Think about that, how they don't have a world economy completely flooded with fiat, with cash money right now, yet. Think about how they don't have destruction from war and people dying, economies collapsing. Think about how they have no invisible enemy to hide behind right now, to move the people into their new system, their central bank digital currency system. Think about how the countries and the states again are fighting back against this Great Reset, this new Green Deal, and this 2030 agenda. You know, that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy agenda. You see, they need an event to hide behind, a catalyst, an invisible enemy. They've lost all control. You see, if the private Western central bankers, if they had war, they could move the people into their new system and their new agenda easily without the people complaining. People would be like, oh, okay, we need a change. We need help. It would have been easy. Lives would have been lost. Destruction would have happened to both the structural, physical aspect of the economy and the economy as well in general, as well as financial collapse we're experiencing right now, all in one. Destruction everywhere. See, that's what they've been robbed of. But the third seal, it talks about biblical proportions of a great financial collapse. And that's why I believe we will see some sort of catalyst and some sort of great transition. And I believe we'll see a crisis coming and surrounded around the private Western central banking economy and system. And I think the people would love to see the Federal Reserve and these private Western central bankers front and center. And I believe the people need to see what their true agenda really is. And what do you know? We're now seeing Biden talk about a $6 trillion spending budget, the highest since post-World War II, mind you. Why? Because they have no choice. They have to continue to spend, which means they need to borrow from the private Western central bankers. This will bring down our economy. This will destroy our economy. And I do not say this lightly. We're going to enter into a crisis. And when we enter into a crisis, the people need to be able to protect themselves. There needs to be a place that the people can go to that safeguards their financial stability and spending power, their financial sovereignty. Because if you just hold on to your Federal Reserve note, your US dollars, well, what happens? Well, look at other countries and look in the past. As inflation hits, they lose everything. The people lose it all. And their purchasing power disappears. But what if there was a way that the people could protect themselves, a way they could get out from under the control of the private Western central bankers and their system? Yes, gold and silver is a great store of wealth, and it will do this. But still, the lack of purchasing and the ability of purchasing is there. It's hard to do with gold and silver and precious metals. But crypto, what happens when there is a place that you can go to that the people can transition into that protects their wealth and they still have the ability to transact? We've seen PayPal and Cash App, Venmo, Visa, MasterCard, all allowing the people to transact using cryptocurrencies as forms of payment. This is just the beginning. Next, we will see stores and businesses. We will see landlords. We already see Colorado governor trying to become the first state to allow people to pay taxes in crypto. Exciting times, isn't it? As we see more and more people start to use cryptocurrencies, and as we see more and more businesses start to accept cryptocurrencies, we will see a shift, a paradigm shift away from fiat and the cash monetary money system, away from the private Western central bankers controlled and centralized system. You see, crypto is a decentralized system that these private Western central bankers and these globalist elite, they can't control, and that irritates them. They hate that. So yes, we constantly see them trying to control this with information in an informational currency warfare type of way. Like China saying that they're banning it again. Like India saying that they're banning it again. and other countries saying they won't accept this. But honestly, we have seen this all before. We've seen this back in the 70s. Earlier in the, the private Western central bankers' establishment of this current system that we're in. They've always tried to steer the people away from alternative currencies. They try to make them look absolutely evil, and that the people will want nothing to do with this. They want their system. They only want you to use their currencies. You know, the same ones devaluing daily to the rate of inflation and the constant money printing. Those currencies. Those controlled and centralized currencies. You see, they usually, until now, would always direct the people on which way they wanted them to go and that they needed to go that would best benefit them. You know, did you have a choice in 1913 when they established the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Note? No. How about in 1940s when they did the Bretton Woods system? Were you given a choice then? No. How about the 1970s when they took us off of the gold standard and they told us it would only be temporarily? Did you get a choice then? No. How about back in 2009 and 10 during the Great Recession when the private Western central bankers said they were taking total control? Did you given a choice then? Absolutely fucking not. But do you have a choice now? Yes. Centralized or decentralized. You can choose to stay in this private Western central banking economy and using their petrodollar, their fiat cash money, and get ushered into a central bank digital currency, a CBDC that they can hit with negative interest rates, that they can cut off like a light switch, and that they can take back from you if you do not help stimulate the economy. Or you can move into a less controlled and only controlled by you, your cryptos, your keys, your crypto. A decentralized system where no government, no entity period has control over these. That's what I've done. And I'm here to document and tell you guys my journey into the digital decade and the new quantum financial system, the evolution of money, the greatest transition of wealth the world will ever see since, well, the remainder of our time here. And I do not say these things lightly. So with all that being said, you guys, I've got a bunch of bullish news that we're going to get into. Thank you for bearing with me. You know I like to do a central banker rant. I love to rant about these central bankers because I believe a lot of people need to know the truth. Let's get this started off on a good note, you guys. Let's let the future begin. We see Rosie Rios, board of director at Ripples, the 43rd U.S. Treasury. Rosie Rios says she is honored to be a part of Ripple and the Ripple family. And let us let the future begin. The same woman that has already come out and told you that the train has already left the station for cryptocurrencies. The same woman whose name is on all the damn money. You better follow her. You better pay attention to what she does. Because she's already told you her next job is the future of currency. Remember that. Bullish. Very bullish on Rosie Rios, you guys. We see Ripple by leverage. Oh, man. Hopefully it's still pulled up. Okay, we see Ripple is tweeted out by leveraging cutting-edge technology with hashtag blockchain and digital assets. We're solving real problems that impact everyone everywhere. See how we are working towards a more financially inclusive future. You guys, and I've got that article pulled up right here. I'm going to share it with you. We're going to go over a few things. I believe that technology, when built and scaled right, can have a profoundly positive impact on humanity and improve people's lives. In leading leading engineer teams at Amazon for 15 years, I witnessed firsthand customer focused innovations at scale that provide people with core necessities essential to how they live. With the global pandemic, it has become more apparent that we are able to fulfill a critical role for communities around the world and help them feel secure during an uncertain time by delivering essentials to their doorsteps. When I consider the standout companies, the industry leaders of the 21st century, it's hard not to think about the journey that enabled this scale and one of the key technological developments behind each of these stories, the internet. Over the past several years, financial institutions have shifted their strategic focus to offering delightful customer experiences as their key to success. However, the current global payments infrastructure does not meet today's business or consumer demands. For instance, the cost of remittances remain high, and it underscores the gaps that exist in the current financial system where those who have the least often pay the most. And we know that's a problem Ripple's looking to solve. Real payments solved in the blink of an eye at real cost efficient prices for everyday people, you guys. Very bullish article. You can go on to continue and do your research into Ripple Insights right here when I share it in the comments section after this video. We see right here from Cam XRP a great tweet today, you guys. SEC attorney moves to withdraw from Ripple case. What? Uh-oh. Bullish news, bullish news. SEC is down a lawyer. They're now down to 2. They brought in a few consultants that specialize in settlements to help them, but now they've only got 2 lawyers now that Mr. Bliss, I don't think this case been very blissful for him at all lately, you guys, and anyone at the SEC. Just saying. But we see that he's chose to step away and is leaving the SEC after spending 10 years there, you guys. And he's no longer going to be employed by the SEC after this. So I mean, he's moving on. He's stepping away. And again, speculation is that they're bringing in another lawyer to fill this gentleman's spot in another field of settlements and regulations. So that's very bullish to hear. We know that court date today was canceled and pushed back. The judge had given everyone more time. Kind of wants their ducks in a row when they come in to settle this. We're still in the pre-discovery phase. We'll see what goes on. Bank of Canada says its digital currency will be greener than Bitcoin. Canada's central bank said it won't have to rely on wasteful methods of mining technologies when issuing its national digital currency. I've got that article pulled up. I'm not big on central bank digital currencies, but we know that we're moving towards them. So it's very bullish to see that through the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada doesn't plan on launching its digital currency just yet, but it's going to happen. The central bank's deputy governor, Timothy Lane, already promises the project will be much greener than Bitcoin. Bullish, which is, why we know that Ripple is already told us, and I brought it back up for you guys to share with you again in case you're new. Ripple, they're already pledging to achieve carbon net zero by 2030. And are driving new research with leading universities that evaluates energy consumption across the digital assets, credit card networks, and cash. Learn more, you guys. We already know what Ripple is the greenest asset you will ever see in your lifetime. Point blank, period. Or at least is now. The world is in the midst of a global climate crisis, one that is impossible to ignore, and we know this, you guys. I'm not going to bore you with this. We went over it before, but I will share it down below for each and every one of you to do your research and due diligence. We know their narrative around climate change and a global greener economy is everywhere, every day. We see right here Ripple to challenge Ethereum in the NFT market. DJ Peter Voss has tweeted out there is no challenge there. We know this. We know this, you guys. No challenge. Ripple will slaughter any and everybody they come up against doing any and everything they do. You mark my words. The non-fungible token NFT market has long been dominated by Ethereum, but Ripple is also claiming its share. The organization has stated that it has suggested a norm that would allow XRP Ledger customers to leverage current capabilities to generate non-fungible tokens, NFTs. The ledger offers a significant competitive edge over Ethereum, is fundamentally green, and has an upper hand in the form of built-in token. In 2021, NFTs have risen to become the most popular sector in the crypto market. They are nevertheless only one facet of a larger movement known as tokenization. Tokenization. Everything will be tokenized and moved to the blockchain. I've already told you guys this. Very bullish. And we see this is a once in a lifetime chance for the XRP ledger, a blockchain having a framework and processing qualities needed to manage any sort of currency or asset efficiently and affordably. You guys, very bullish. A very bullish statement. We went over this the other day when we talked about XRP and how they're approaching the NFT game. And if you do not follow Monica Long, who is the general manager of Ripple X, please, she's one bad woman, you guys. Come on now, follow Monica Long and pay attention to what's going on there. With Ripple X developers. We see Mr. Pool's done it again. You guys, Mr. Pool's done it again. How many times before it's mathematically impossible? I mean, you can get more truths out of a picture these days in life. I mean, I'm just saying. How does he do it, man? You know, we see right here in this letter to the Federal Reserve. Explains why it's time to open the doors for fintech services, which is very, very bullish, you guys, to the extent that fintechs are able to gain the same direct access to the Fed's wholesale purchases that ordinary banks enjoy. They can operate more efficiently and compete more effectively with those banks in providing alternative retail products and services. It's just a very bullish article I'm going to share with you guys about fintech and private companies coming into the payment sector, because we know it's going to happen. Ripple's already integrated our traditional payments, real-time gross settlements payment system, the way we've moved money for decades. They've Ripple netted it, point blank period. But he says here in this article, I'm grateful to the Federal Reserve Board for allowing me to comment on its proposed guidelines to evaluate requests for accounts and services at Federal Reserve banks. Among other things, the board asked prospective commentators whether its proposed guidelines are sufficiently clear and appropriate to achieve their intended purpose, whether other criteria may be relevant to evaluate accounts and services requests, whether the proposed guidelines will support responsible financial innovation, and whether it should consider other steps or actions to facilitate the review of requests for accounts and services in a consistent and equitable manner. So very bullish if you continue to go on and read and truly understand what's being done and what they're talking about in this article. We see to the extent that fintechs are able to gain the same direct access to the Fed's wholesale purchases that ordinary banks enjoy, they can operate more efficiently and compete more effectively with those banks in providing alternative retail products and services. We said that many foreign central banks have already taken steps to grant fintechs such asset access, like Ripple, in other countries. Many foreign central banks have already deemed it a currency. You just gotta wait on the U.S. Although the risk involved in taking this step justifies proceeding cautiously, as the Bank of England observed in announcing its own decision to give non-bank payment service providers direct access to its wholesale settlement services. Doing so can ultimately enhance financial stability by creating more device payment arrangements for fewer single points of failure, identifying and developing new risk-reducing technologies, and expanding the range of transactions that can take place electronically and be settled in the central bank's money. So very bullish. I'll stop boring you with that article, but very, very important. We see South Korea central bank governor says leveraged crypto trading threatens banking system. Well, no shit. This is exactly what my speech in the beginning has talked about. If we the people move away from the central banking economy, we don't need the central banking economy. Point blank period. We can become our own banks. And I do not say these things lightly. They say we expect the increasing amount of crypto trading to have a negative impact on the financial system in any respect. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt to get you out because they want your crypto. An access level of leveraged cryptocurrency trading puts households at risk of financial damages considering the instability of cryptocurrencies. Yeah, well, how about your fucking dollar? And all this money printing they doing, with the rate of inflation and hyperinflation coming to the economy, with the upcoming cyber attack, the hack that I do believe is coming. You mark my words. That's how we're ending this video. Be prepared for the cyber attack, the hack. What about the dollar though, and the rate of inflation and how it attacks your dollar and your spending ability? So I mean, I'm just saying. At least cryptos go up as they continue to print money. So I mean, I'm just saying. They talking about 6 trillion. Bitcoin tested 40,000 as soon as he dropped that $6 trillion spending package Biden want to push, and Bitcoin gonna test 40,000 real quick. Come on now. They just talked about printing money. Ain't even hit the button yet. What happens when they do? All right. When will America protect itself against EMP, cyber, and ransomware attacks, you guys? And this is how we're ending out this article today in this video, because this is so very important that you go and read this article when I share it. Because I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but we know Texas has already had a small taste of an electronic apocalypse, you guys. And we've been warned time and time again from Klaus Schwab. You listen to him.
Insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
And what kind of major cyber attack are they talking about? Oh, they got it right here on their website, the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab and them, who was just talking and warning you about this, because they tell you in advance what's going to happen, because they believe they're karmically sinning in their fucked up religion that they believe in. Yeah, I mean, this is their beliefs. That if they don't tell you the truth, then they can't sin. Okay?
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core. It's shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes, and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, The ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
I mean, they're telling us the time is now. And they've been telling us that. And you've seen the narratives being built around a greener economy and the economy, and period, with climate change, solar flare events. You've seen the articles in the news. Hacks on the Colonial Pipeline, hacks on our power grid, hacks here and there. You've seen the narratives being built. And I do not say these things lightly. This will be the event that they use to hide behind their invisible enemy. Instead of telling you that their private Western central banking system failed because they collapsed it over 50 years with fractional reserve banking that's a scam, with endless money printing and QE, quantitative easing, counterfeiting, instead of telling you the truth, they will blame it on an event. Whether it's a cyber attack like I believe, or it's something else. You mark my words on this. And I do not say these things lightly. With all that being said, you guys, we're ending this one. No price chart action. We're still fucking around with the dollar on XRP. Bitcoin's still hanging out around 38,000. Continuing to watch those. Take care. God bless. And I do not say these things lightly.